One thing you constantly have to worry about if you have a polytunnel is giving the plants enough water, which results in you getting up every 2 days, taking out the hose on a trip to your polytunnel and watering the plants for plus minus 15 minutes. Let's do some rough maths here. 15 minutes every 2 days over the course of February till November. Start of February until the end of November is 274 days. Divided by 2 is 137 days. 137 days times 15 minutes you roughly spend watering is 2055 minutes in a year, which equals to 34.25 hours simply spent standing in your polytunnel, waiting for your hose to spew out enough water for the plants so you don't have to worry about it for another 2 days. This is a lot of time that could be better spent doing useful things like staring out of a window, contemplating life, watching ducks, or just sitting in your chair in front of your PC procrastinating, being guilt-tripped because you haven't uploaded a video in 3 months. But thankfully there's a way to automate those things. It's called an irrigation system and it's decently easy to set up. So at first you take your outdoor water tap. You take the measures you need to install an outdoor water tap. For some weird reason I had this hole in my house which connected to my bathroom, probably an old sewage pipe hole or something, I don't know. I also had a broken sink which had been sitting in my bathroom ever since I moved here. It didn't leak or anything, so I just left it there, but now I could use the cold water inflow pipe for my outdoor tap. After some plumbing acrobatics, I managed to get the valve outside. What was left now was connecting the pipe into another pipe, which would connect into the outdoor tap. Plumbing is easy if you have the right parts for the job, but if you are just winging it and trying it with half-baked knowledge, it's a bit of a challenge. I got the job done in the end, but it took me a solid 2 hours to connect all of it without anything leaking. Since one valve wasn't quite enough for my outdoor jobs, I put a 4-way valve onto the tap so that I wouldn't have to constantly disconnect stuff if I wanted to just have some water outside. Work. Automating an irrigation system would mean having an automatic timer which opens the water flow at specific times, which would be the first thing on the tap. Next up is a normal garden hose, which would deliver the water directly to the polytunnel. After that was a pressure reducer, which is important for a few reasons. First off, because I would be reducing the size from a 13mm hose to a 4mm hose, which obviously wouldn't be able to hold the same pressure that a 13mm hose usually holds. Second, the irrigation system is not an open but a closed system, in the sense that with the garden hose you usually let the water flow out freely, because you have a purpose for all the water you are drawing. Meaning you have an outlet which lets the water out at the same rate as it's drawn from the mains. The irrigation system though is closed, with only a few very small outlets over the span of tens of meters of piping. After the pressure reducer would directly be the 13mm to 4mm converter, followed by roughly 100 meters of very small tubing laid across all of the grow beds. Connecting the 4mm pipes was rough though. You usually dunk the end of the pipes in hot water so they are a bit more flexible, but putting the connector pieces in was just barely doable enough to not make me get up and make this easier on me. Take my word of advice and do it anyways. Your fingertips will thank you for not abusing them as much as I did. I went with a rough distance of 20 centimeters between each piece of the tubes, which should be fine if you plant your plants directly next to the tubes. My original plan was to use these sprinklers, but they would require me to do a connector piece on every part where I wanted water, and I didn't have the patience for that after realizing what a pain it is to even connect the most vital parts. So I opted for a way to utilize this system without hating my life by just putting in holes with a sewing needle where I wanted the water to drip out. Definitely easier said than done though, because the pipe was all black and I tried to strictly put holes on the side pointing towards the earth. Some of them ended up being way too high and sprayed water upwards because I put the hole on the wrong spot. A mistake fairly easily fixed by applying some tape on the hole so the water would just drip down instead. All that was left was setting up the timer. After putting in 2 AAA batteries, I set up the current time, the time when it should start watering, how long it should water for, and how often it should water. I set it up for watering at 8 in the morning every day for half an hour, but after testing it and checking on the soil, I turned it up to an hour of watering every morning. Then I set it on auto for automobile, because I still don't have a car. Before we get into how the finished product looks, let's get into the financial breakdown. Of course, every system differs with the amount of tubing you need, how far away your outdoor tap is from your polytunnel, and what you have at your disposal already. But these are the essentials which are needed, not including me installing an outdoor tap, just strictly the irrigation system setup. Starting from the first thing on the tap down to the tubing, you need an automatic water timer. There's loads of them and I just took one which would do the job and was fairly cheap. €25 with the 20% discount from Amazon. Next was the hose to deliver water from the tap to the grow bed. €22 for 15 meters of hose. Brass connectors for the hose. I just went with the 4-pack because better value for money here. €19. An absolutely crucial part, the pressure regulator, which came directly with a 13mm to 4mm adapter. €27. In my case, 100 meter of micro irrigation water pipe, 2 times 50 meters, €22 each, so 44 for 100 meters. And to connect all the piping together, a loaded set of barbed connectors for 4mm pipes, €11. If we calculate all of those together, we end up at €148. There it is, an irrigation set for under €150. All that's left is planting out all the seedlings after cleaning the beds of unwanted stuff. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to spend the next 34 hours, which I saved myself now, procrastinating in front of my computer.